10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He manages to get it wide to Jacob Minter. Yeah, good job with the shot, and the Slough Jets have taken the lead on the power play with 23 Russell with the shot cross goal. No need for the save from Lorde, and Campbell finds himself in, and it is 3-1 to the Chelsea Chieftains. They have Hello and welcome to Zero Pucks Given, the UK Ice Hockey Podcast. We're in partnership with the Hockey Art Co, hockey clothing for hockey people, worn by the best and hated by the rest. Listeners to the ZPG network get 10% off everything site-wide at hockeyartclothing.co.uk. Just use the code ZP10 when you check out. We're also in partnership with manscaped.com, globally recognised brand of male grooming products. Wireless shavers for your head, your chest and everywhere else. You can get 20% off everything from manscaped.com when you use the code 0pucks20. That's all one word, all caps, 0pucks20. And we're on the Sports Social Podcast Network, the largest sport podcast network in Europe, boasting over 500 podcasts from more than 20 different sports. And we're delighted that the ZPG network, which is ZPG Ice Maidens and Zero Pucks Given, are part of it. Well, hello, welcome along. This is episode 130 of Zero Pucks Given. I'm Ben. Thank you so much for joining us. On this episode, we're going to be catching up with one of the MK Thunder players. Obviously, they've not had the best starts of the season. In all fairness, the fixture list hasn't been the kindest to them, but they're coming into a run of games now where I know that Will Fry is really going to look to start getting some points on the board. So we're going to be catching up with their forward, number 12, Sean Reynolds. How you doing this evening, mate? You okay?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Thank you so much for joining us. You're our first Thunder player of the season. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It's been a difficult start to the season, but how is things in the room right now?
I think they're getting there. Everyone can feel that it's coming. We're definitely due for a win. I think we've got Oxford next weekend, so I think we can definitely get it this weekend. But I definitely think we deserve it with all the work that we're putting in. So
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I mean, I've probably seen you guys the most other than Chelmsford. I've sort of seen you live a couple of times. I've caught the stream 3 or 4 times as well. So I can see that the hard work and the stuff that's going in there. And it's, even though I think back to the game you had at home to Romford, I think you scored a short-handed goal in like the first couple of minutes. It was a
yeah,
fantastic
yeah.
finish. And it's so close. And I know Will says every week on his Coach of Sports, it's so close. It's really getting there. But it's, yeah, I like you say, I think you're just going to need to get that one win and then the confidence might flow a little bit. But it's tell us a bit about Will, because obviously he's come from like the coaching university team as well. So is
Yeah.
his level of coaching, obviously with the diversity of players that would be at uni level, because they don't technically have to be British, do they, to play for GB University?
I don't think so, no. But yeah, he's I've had a good like range of coaches like throughout my career. I mean, I've had like the likes of like Milos, Danny Myers, and all them lot. And honestly, like he's up there with like their standard. I think the systems that he's put in is like really strong. Like I quite like how he like coaches and like his style. And he's definitely about like development and like he's really good with like especially with like the younger players in terms of like trying to develop them to get further. So I think he's definitely one of the best like one of the better side coaches that are out there. And I think it's gonna work out eventually. I think it just needs a little bit of time. He's got the structures in place, and I definitely think that it's gonna get us somewhere.
Yeah, I think with the squad that you've got as well, I mean the young players that are there that have been there now for maybe a couple of years coming through that Storm setup, that it's you can see that actually in a couple of years, that's going to be a very, very hard team to beat. And you've got, your experienced guys in there like your Mark Austins and your Don Welthals. And in all honesty, they're getting outshone by the likes of yourself and Caleb Sheehan, particularly in nets, who's playing fantastic. So, I mean, how do them experienced guys in the room help you guys along?
I mean, you can definitely like tell that like they're more of like the talkative kind of guys. They're there, they like help like say me or like one of the younger guys makes a mistake. They're definitely there kind of, helping us with like how to fix them, how to improve as players. They're definitely like, good motivators. Like I feel like it's not been like the easiest season, obviously, and I definitely think that they've helped a lot in terms of like keeping focus and like keeping the morale up and all that. And then obviously, I mean, I know the likes of Hager and all them lot, they've definitely got like a big impact on games, like scoring goals and all that. So
Yeah, I mean Hayden's been there for a few years now. He's the captain as well.
yeah,
He's also obviously very skilled in roller hockey as well, which I always think gives a player a different dynamic when they're skilled in two forms of the game.
yeah.
But they're are you playing your junior hockey in MK as well?
I'm still at Guildford, so
So
yeah.
you said to me off air just before we started, the week before you missed the Chelmsford game because you were still playing under 18s with Guildford. How's the season going there at junior level?
I had to miss the Swindon game, which was our first game of the season, because I came out of the MK Gosport game because I got hit to the head. But other than that, I think that game we were very short benched as well. We were missing a lot of players. But the rest of the season, so we drew against Chelmsford, and then we lost in the last 6 seconds to Peterborough, and then the weekend before this weekend, we just beat Slough. So I think it's not going like the best, but it's still going well, and I think that we can still do well throughout the season. So yeah.
Yeah. What's your opinion on 18s hockey and the relevance of it? I know there's a lot of people in the game that would kind of see it as an irrelevant form of the game because at 16 the guys just want to step up and play seniors. Do you think
Hmm.
it's vital that they have that extra little session of juniors?
I think definitely in terms of like ice time, because I think I mean it's definitely helped me out a lot because I get on the ice a lot more and all that, but. I think it's very like split between those. You can tell who's plays seniors and like who's played up for like a while and who hasn't in terms of like in the game impact. But I feel like it's good for developing those that like are maybe close to playing seniors but haven't quite yet. Getting like experience with those that have played seniors. So I wouldn't say it's like the most relevant, but it's still, quite helpful for those like up and coming players, I think.
Yeah, no, I entirely agree. And as you say, the main thing there is ice time, which is what everybody kind of struggles to get hold of in this country. So the fact
Yeah.
that you get that and still have a competitive game at the same time is a bonus. Because it's, I mean, would you say in 18s when you look at those guys that are close to stepping up, is it more of an ability and a sort of mental stability that's holding them back, or is it physical, just waiting
Um,
to fill out?
I'd say it depends on the player, to be fair. I mean, I know there's a lot of guys that like I feel like are skilled enough to play, but they're maybe just missing that physical or like their mental kind of they're a bit too because it is quite daunting playing with like grown men. I feel like before every game I kind of I have to like hype myself up because there are some big guys out there, especially as like a smaller player. But I definitely feel like it's a lot mental, and then I feel like the mental would help a lot more if you were like a bigger player. But yeah, I feel like it's a bit of both, I think.
And I think that's where coaching can take a massive step because, as you say, coaches like Will Fry, Danny Myers, and whatnot, they're not the biggest of guys either, but
Yeah,
they had to adapt their game to use their sort of stature,
yeah, yeah,
make it an advantage for them, and they both did that to, varying levels of success. Particularly Danny, obviously playing for GB,
yeah.
but they're I mean, what is that like then as an 18-year-old player or an under 18 player? You stand on the blue line against 20 grown men. What's the mentality there? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm a very chirpy player, so like, I feel like I kind of just like I think I scare them down. I'm trying to like scare them a bit, but it definitely doesn't work. But it is quite kind of scary because like you see the guys and you're like, oh God, like imagine if he's coming at me full speed. It is a bit scary, but I feel like I'm starting to get used to it now. So it's a bit like it's not like it is very physical, but it's not as like it's cleaner than I thought it'd be.
But
So
you love a chirp as well, do you?
yeah, absolutely.
You got any particular favorites?
Um, it kind of depends on the scenario, I think. I don't know if I can repeat a couple, but yeah,
We like to keep it relatively clean on here.
yeah, yeah,
I'm sure we're talking about going well past your mum jokes.
yeah, yeah.
Excellent, mate. Excellent. So now, obviously, say this season that you're having with Guildford at the juniors, is this going to be your last junior season before you age out?
I've still got one more season left, but yeah.
And do you think you'll keep doing that?
Um, I think it depends what happens next season. I mean, I want to stay at MK and then see what happens from there, but I'm hoping to like, well, further in my career, hopefully play like national and all that. So I'll see what happens next season. But for the moment, yeah, I'll stay playing 18 skill for next season.
Yeah, love it. And
Um,
as you say, an ambition then to stay in this country and play as high as you can, or perhaps even look abroad.
I have talked to my parents about like having a look abroad because like after A levels, maybe going to like university abroad and stuff like that. Um, but it's like a big kind of commitment. So I'm not 100% sure yet, but for now, I know when I was younger, I definitely wanted to play like in the elite league, like Danny Myers, because I always looked up to him when I was younger. So I feel like it'd definitely be cool to play in the elite league, and like follow in his footsteps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's So I mean, going back then to sort of why you started playing the game. Are you Guildford lad sort of through and through? So you had the rink down there in Guildford.
So when I was younger, my dad was in the army, and he actually got posted over to Canada, in Bathurst, and they have like a rink. So there's like a little village in there with all like the British families from that got posted over, and they have a rink there. And we started playing hockey then, and then obviously when my dad got posted back, we came and we got posted back to Surrey. And then we applied to like the three local clubs, so Basingstoke, Bracknell, Guildford, and Guildford were the only ones to get back. So um, obviously we went over to there, and then I kind of just fell in love with the club, and I've just stayed ever since. So yeah.
Hmm. So learning to play in Canada, were you playing against other Brits or were you playing against young Canadians as well?
So we were playing against other Brits usually, and then we kind of like had friendly games against some of the local Canadian teams, and then I think there was a couple tournaments against like just single A teams, which was pretty fun, especially when you're younger.
Hmm. Did your dad ever play for the army at all?
He played in the Army League, but I like it out there, but I don't think he played like the Army team because I know there's a couple Army teams out in the UK, but I don't think he played for them there.
Yeah, in all honesty, the names of them escape me. But obviously, we had Sam Robinson on a couple of weeks ago who
Oh yeah,
uh, played for one of the army teams. I think we've had Ross Clark. I think who now plays at Haringey may have played for the Navy team at some point as well. But
yeah,
I wonder, do you think that rivalry in ice hockey between Army and Navy would be like it is in rugby, where they have that game at Twickenham every year, and it's
absolutely. It must be, surely.
yeah, it's quite funny how they're kind of all there to do the same job, but the rivalry between them is absolutely insane.
Yeah, exactly. They have to be the best at their job, so
They do indeed, and I mean, obviously, it's putting lifting the Iron Curtain. It is Monday the 11th, so it's a very important weekend for the armed forces. Um,
yeah.
is your dad still serving? Was he busy this weekend?
No, he's retired now, but he was I know yesterday he was doing a parade because he's like he knows all the veterans here, so they all did a parade where we live. So
Yeah, love it.
he's still in.
Yeah. Did that have a profound effect on you growing up? Because I know it can be quite intimidating, but as well as quite inspiring when a member of your family is in the armed forces. Did it have an effect on you growing up?
It definitely kind of like I feel like I haven't had like a normal kind of childhood, moving around a lot. I've had to make a lot of friends. I went to a lot of schools. But at the same time, it's given me a lot of opportunities. Like I wouldn't be playing hockey right now if he hadn't been in the army, I don't think. But yeah, it was like I had some really great experiences, obviously, and although there were moments where it was a bit low because we didn't get to see him a lot, I definitely think it worked out in the end. And like he retired at like a good age where I've still managed to like have a lot of my childhood with him. So yeah, I feel like it worked out in the end.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, I mean, it's a story I love to hear. I live in Colchester, which is a big military town, so I've got a lot of friends that have
Yeah.
had a similar upbringing to yourself, and going back a few years sort of previous than that, where there was obviously a few more conflicts and whatnot going on.
Mm.
But no, I think it's one of the things that makes me very proud to be British is the armed forces and the way that is all taken care of, and the sort of pomp and ceremony that we've had this weekend. I don't think any other country in the world does it as good as Britain do it.
But yeah.
Which I mean, and in ice hockey as well, Britain have been doing it pretty well in recent times. You know, they've just been relegated from the very top pool. You've represented GB at junior level, haven't you? Tell us about that.
Oh, it was an amazing experience. I mean, I wasn't sure like what would happen with it, but just like the feeling of getting picked, like I woke up for school as normal. My mum came in and told me, obviously, and like I've never been like more excited in my life. Because it's something that you've worked towards like your whole life. As like an under 9, under 11, you look up to those players and like to actually be one of them, like putting on that jersey, it's just an unreal feeling.
Yeah, who was in that roster then that you were selected in?
Uh, we had we had Joel Myers, probably one of the biggest names. Ethan Locke, Sam Miller, Richard Missons, who just dominated that tournament. I think he scored like nearly triple the amount of points as half the people there. And then we had players like Darius Borforth, Max Van Mullen as well. It was a very like full roster, I'd say.
Yeah, I tell you that Max Van Mullen, I saw him Saturday night. It's the first time I've actually seen him in the flesh, and
Yeah,
I mean, he ended up on the losing side, unfortunately, conceding six on the night, including an OT winner. But he's a bloody good goalie.
he is. He's annoying to play against.
Yeah, I noticed what he was there when when someone's got the puck behind the goal in Gretzky's office there, and he's like this.
Yeah.
For those not listening, I'm like waving my hands around in the air because he's trying to block the view of the forward, seeing where the puck is. I mean, for a young kid, he's got some front.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He is. He's one of them where like you just gotta love him. As soon as like you get to know him, he's just such a joy to be around, and like he's definitely like he brings the morale to the team. Like no matter what team he's in, he brings the heart to the team, definitely.
Yeah, which is great for a goaltender because we've said on here many times when we have them on, they can't lose you a game, but they can certainly win one on their own,
Absolutely.
and they need to be a character as well to do that. So as you said, they're playing with the guys through GB and that. Who do you think's the best player that you've played with right the way through?
Um, I'd have to probably say Richard Missons. I mean, just the way that he plays is so unique. I don't think I've seen like anyone, even against like teams abroad. I don't think I've seen anyone play like he does. Like you have like your set players where you have like the grinders, the snipers, and all like or like the goal scorers and all that, and he's just all of them in one. It's definitely good. Like it's good to have on your team, and it's awful to play against because no matter what, he just impacts the game. Like whether or not he's scoring goals or he's like shutting down on defense, it's amazing to watch.
Where do you rank yourself amongst those titles then of grinders and snipers and scorers? Where do you rank yourself?
I definitely say I'm more of a grinder, but like I can get the occasional goal or like make the occasional play, but overall I definitely say I'm more of like a try and lay the body, try and like just keep up the tempo of the game.
Yeah, I must admit, because your skating style is a favorite of mine. There's a few players that you see that have that kind of style. It's kind of almost like a speed skating style, arched over a lot of action in the arms. It builds up a lot
Yeah.
of pace. And I got to admit, when I watched that game against Romford and you went through early doors on that shorty, as soon as I thought he's going to score.
Yeah.
You could just see it in the way he's gone through. He's going to score. So, did you adopt that skating style from something you saw, or was it something that came natural to you?
Um, I think watching a lot of like just NHL as I grew up, I think I kind of just watched what worked for me. I definitely watched like the younger players. I mean, I tried to adopt my style after like do you know Johnny Goodrow?
Yep.
Um, I was a Calgary fan when I was younger, and like I watched him like a lot. So I definitely tried to like play similar to him and like the way that he moves and all that. So I definitely say that's probably most where I got my skating style from. But it's just kind of what works for me, I guess. It's like um, I've always been the kind of like small guy that like tries to like skate as fast as he can everywhere. So.
Yeah, 110% at all times.
Exactly.
So, I mean, talking then NHL, was Calgary your kind of closest team when you was out in Canada?
Yeah, I think we were 1 or 2 hours away, which in Canada is basically like 10 minutes away. So
We have this conversation with any import that comes on here. They're just kind of like, it blows their mind at how small England actually is. And we all think
yeah,
it's a nightmare to get everywhere. And they're like, well, it's only like 4 hours.
yeah. The roads are just clear. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful part of the world over there in Western Canada as well, isn't it? It's absolutely stunning scenery. It's
Absolutely, yeah.
somewhere I've not managed to get. I've been Eastern Canada. Toronto's one of my favorite places on earth, but
Yeah,
yeah, Western Canada is definitely one for the bucket list. I mean, so
yeah.
sticking with the show, then, are you still a Calgary fan?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's tough at times, but yeah, it's definitely good because it's nice to like have a local team to support, and we do get the occasional win. So
Yeah, it's the time wise though isn't great, is it, for the face-offs?
oh no, no,
No, it's bad. I mean, it's bad enough for me following Toronto, and then believe me, I know about pain being a Toronto fan.
yeah,
But do you think that the because I've been watching a fair bit of the highlights and stuff this year. It feels different this year.
yeah,
Not sure what it is about it, but something feels different.
yeah. I don't know because I've this is probably the season that I've been most watching the highlights as well. But yeah, I've definitely noticed like a difference and just kind of like it's definitely like. It's weird. The worser teams are kind of winning,
Mm,
um, which is a bit weird because I know we went unbeaten for like the first 4 games, which was just unheard of. But like the whole kind of like atmosphere is just a bit is a bit unusual. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, like you say, teams that people weren't expecting to do much. You know, Utah have started really well. The Ducks have started really well, and like from what I've been watching the highlights, like the pace has almost gone up a level. The physicality
yeah,
come down. I'm not sure if they're actually now a little bit more aware of just how many people across the world are watching them after the documentary on Amazon Prime, the Face Off documentary. Have you seen that?
yeah, yeah. It's great.
Yeah, it's super. The access they got, particularly with the likes of Conor McDavid, it was just absolutely incredible to get that sort of.
Yeah,
So I think now maybe that they've always known they've been a big deal in their home cities, but I think they kind of now know that it's a big deal across the world, and I think the sport is actually having a bit of a global boost.
yeah, definitely. You can. I think the whole like global series thing that they're doing as well is definitely helping a lot. And like the players are kind of like recognizing that it's maybe bigger than they thought it was.
Mm.
Definitely.
Bring it back to London. If you anyone in America or North America listening, bring that global series back to London. I know it didn't go particularly well. I think the last time I did it, I think it was about 2009. I think I did it. It was, and it didn't go well. But yeah, bring that back to London. I think it's got more popular now.
Absolutely.
What's your sort of goals then for the season? I know, having spoken with obviously with Lauren, your GM, I speak with Lauren quite regularly. I know they were aiming to get into those playoffs, the top 8 for this season. Have you personally got any goals for this season?
I think it's just to develop the team and set them up as like best as possible for next season. Um, I feel like we could do well this season, but it's definitely more of like a focus of I feel like if we keep up the morale and like keep up maybe get momentum going into next season, and I feel like we can definitely do some damage next season.
Yeah.
Even if this season, because I know that we haven't started as well as we wanted to. But I feel like next weekend could be the turning point of our season, depending on whether or not we get that win, which hopefully we will.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean the fixtures just haven't really been that kind to you, have they? To be honest, the first few games it was like bang Chelmsford, bang Streatham, bang Slough, and it was what a way to
Yeah.
start.
I think we had a Slough double header. So we had them at home and then we had them away again, and that was just it was awful.
Yeah, I'd say that the speed that they play at, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. I was there when they
Yeah,
played Streatham at home a couple of weeks back, and the speed on the forecheck is unreal.
it's amazing to watch, but playing against it isn't exactly quite fun. So
Yeah. I said something
yeah,
I did like that I saw at Slough's Rink that night was that the junior players at the end of the warm up they collected all the pucks into the bucket rather than having the ice rink staff do that, and I thought that was a really nice little touch.
Yeah, that's class. We should maybe get them doing that.
Well, I think you'd all be out there, wouldn't you? It'd only be Dom and Mark in there out in the change.
Yeah.
But sure, thank you so much for your time, man. Thank you for sharing all your stories from your playing career. I wish you all the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
I will absolutely catch up with you at some point, whether it be in Chelmsford or I'll come back to Milton Keynes one weekend when you're playing.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's
Good
been a
man.
pleasure.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.
A massive thank you to Sean for joining me on the podcast. It's so great to see these young guys not afraid to put themselves out there. They talk really well and they've got a real love for the game as well, which is fantastic to see. So thank you so much for listening to that. Don't forget to check out our partners at Hockey Art Co, Manscaped, and of course the Sports Social Podcast Network. The latest episode of ZPG Ice Maidens is available now with all the latest action from the WNIHL, from the only podcast dedicated to UK women's ice hockey. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.